For our chili crisp, we have 5 different varieties of chilies here, all native to the Americas. To start here on the left, we have arbol chilies, which are not going to add too much flavor, but a little bit of heat. Okay, you can smell it doesn't really contribute much by the way of the nose there.
Got it.
These are chipotle chilies. These are dried jalapenos that have been smoked, and that's going to add a nice subtle smokiness to our chili crisp.
Really nice.
Now these 2 chilies are primarily the ones that are going to add the heat. So if you're averse to a little bit of spiciness, we'll remove one of each of those.
But if I do?
Then we're going to leave them in, we're going to let it rock. Then we have New Mexico chilies. Now these have almost like a grassy and slightly smoky flavor because of the natural drying process that they go through.
Well, it's very subtle after the chipotle, right? Which is just such a profound smoky flavor.
These are Guajillo chilies, which I always think of as kind of like an herbal, oregano-like aroma to them. But it's very familiar though, isn't it?
It is very familiar. It's so familiar that it's like the standard chili powder.
And these are ancho chilies, which are dried poblano chilies. Now these have a very raisiny, almost burnt coffee-like aroma to them.
I love that description, raisiny. I totally get that.
Yeah.
Yeah, and it's almost kind of sweet.
So we are going to toast these in a 400-degree oven for just 3 to 5 minutes. They can go from toasted to burnt in a matter of seconds, so you want to keep an eye out for them. And you want to follow your nose on this. You should start to just barely smell the aroma of chilies coming from the oven. 400 degrees, middle rack, we'll let it rip. All right, our chilies are out of the oven. They've been cooling for 10 minutes. You can see the difference. They've plumped up. They've gotten a little bit darker in color. They're also a lot more brittle, see, and that's exactly what we want. So we're going to stem and seed all these chilies. Just kind of shake out all the stems and seeds. And I'll put the chilies back over here and work from one side of the tray. Now we're going to start processing them in our spice grinder. I'm going to do a handful of chilies at a time. And you know, the number of batches you do, it really depends on the size of your spice grinder. I'd like to fill it up just about halfway and do a few more batches because it's a little bit more efficient for the machine. So I'm going to put the cap on and give it 6 pulses, and we're looking for pieces that are no bigger than 1/4 inch.
Okay.
And the reason why we pulse rather than just hold the button down is because if we just hold the button, they all kind of process the same size very quickly, and we want that variation in texture. Our chilies are all ground up and looking nice. Over here we have a 1.5 cups of sunflower oil that we're heating up. We're looking for it to hit 375 degrees, and that's going to be the base for our chili oil. Sunflower because it has a neutral flavor and a really high smoke point. So we could talk about our other ingredients for our chili crisp, and those are going to be a few scallions here. We have 3 scallions that we're going to slice thin. So we can drop our scallions right into our chili mixture. And then we're also going to add 2 tablespoons of maple sugar. All right, and then we have 3 garlic cloves that have been minced, and then 1.5 teaspoons of fine sea salt. As compared to table salt, not only is it a much more natural product, but it's less salty, so you're less likely to over-season something. So we're looking for our oil to hit 375 degrees, and it's right there, so we can kill the heat on that. And now we're going to carefully add our oil to our chili mixture. Keep our faces away from this because it'll steam and you'll get all that chili evaporating in your face. Nice sizzle.
I love that. It's cooking right there in the pan. It's pretty cool.
Yeah, you can smell it already, right?
Mm-hmm.
So we need to let this sit for at least 30 minutes to cool to room temperature, and we'll give it the occasional stir as it sits. And then we're going to jar it up and let it sit for at least 4 hours before we start using it, because those flavors need to commingle, meld, and hang out together and have fun. This could really sit in your cupboard for a good month or so, though. All right, let's talk about sweet potatoes. I have 2 12 to 16 ounce white sweet potatoes here. And we're using white sweet potatoes because they're a little bit more dense, a little drier, a little less sweet. You could, of course, use orange sweet potatoes. And we're gonna bake these off in a 400-degree oven until they're nice and tender. But before we throw them in the oven, we wanna prick them all over about 6 times to keep them from exploding while they're in the oven. This just lets some of the steam escape as they cook. So I'm going to throw these into a 400-degree oven. The oven's set to the middle rack. Let them cook until they're nice and tender, meaning a paring knife will insert very easily in and out of the potato. And that takes anywhere between 1.25 hours and 1.5 hours.
Love what you're watching? Take your cooking to the next level with our Essential membership. Get instant access to thousands of recipes, tips, techniques, product reviews, and step-by-step videos. Our members app allows you to search by ingredient, set dietary preferences, and save your favorite recipes. For those looking to level up, our newest feature, ATK Classes, offers more in-depth instruction led by ATK experts, so you can gain greater confidence in the kitchen. Start your free trial by visiting the App Store or going to americastestkitchen.com/YouTube today.
All right, Toni. These potatoes have been cooking for about an hour and a half.
Smells so good.
I love the smell of sweet potatoes. So we'll just take our paring knife and make sure it goes in and out of the potato very easily, and we know they're perfectly done. And now we're just gonna let these sit and cool at room temperature for at least 2 hours. And then after that, we can refrigerate them for as long as 2 days. And actually, they're easier to grill once they're nice and cold. Our potatoes have chilled for several hours in the refrigerator. So we're gonna take these potatoes and we're just gonna slice them in half lengthwise. So we have a nice flat surface to cook.
Look at that beautiful color.
So before we put them onto our grill pan here, actually, you could do this outside if you prefer, but the important step either way is to make sure your grill pan is very well greased and oiled, because again, sweet potatoes, sugar, fire tends to stick. So we're gonna brush the cut sides of these potatoes with a little bit of sunflower oil. And then we'll just sprinkle them with a little bit of salt. Again, this is fine sea salt. And then we're gonna throw them right onto our grill pan. And once we put them on there, we don't wanna move them until the char is formed and they can release easily. And this grill pan has been preheating on medium-high heat for 10 minutes. And we'll let that go for at least 3 to 5 minutes. You should hear that sizzle. You should see a little bit of smoke coming off this griddle. All right, it's been about 3 minutes, and I could smell those sugars caramelizing, and I could see along the edge here how the skin is starting to blacken a little bit. So using a fish spatula, which is one of my favorite kitchen tools here, because it's nice and stiff and it's thin so we can get underneath, make sure it can lift off. And because it can, we know the rest of them are ready. So before we flip them all over, we're gonna brush again with a little bit of sunflower oil. This is gonna help us get that crispy skin. And then we'll just sprinkle them with a little bit of salt.
It really shows the importance of trusting the timing.
Trust the fire, trust the heat.
Yeah, you can smell that char beginning to develop.
So now we can go ahead and flip them over. See how they release nicely? It's exactly
Beautiful.
what we're looking for.
That is stunning.
Okay, it's been about 5 minutes on the skin side, and we're ready to check those. You can see we don't have as many grill marks, but the skin is nice and crispy because it's been in such in close contact with that heat. And we're just gonna throw them onto our sheet pan now, and these are ready to go. All right, our potatoes have cooled slightly, and that's the great thing about this dish. You can cook these way ahead of time. You can serve them a little bit more warm if you'd like to, but room temperature is absolutely perfect for this dish. We're gonna cut our scallion garnish. And then for this, we're gonna cut the scallion a little bit more fancy. Whenever I cut a scallion for garnish, it's typically I'll do a nice long bias cut, just to tell the entire world that I'm fancy. And now for our potatoes, we're just gonna split these in half lengthwise first. You hear that?
Hear that crisp.
You hear that crunch? And then once in half crosswise. And then as we cut them, we really just wanna arrange them on the platter. Just kind of randomly, just like they fell out of the sweet potato sky. We can head over here, and we could douse these with our chili crisp.
Ooh, look at that.
So we don't have a lot going on here. We have salted grilled sweet potatoes and this magnificent chili crisp, and we are going to douse these potatoes with a chili crisp. For this amount of potatoes, I'd use a good half cup or so. Remember, this is the key flavoring agent here. I tell you what, once you start messing around with this chili crisp, you're gonna find all kinds of amazing uses for it. And then we're gonna hit it with a little bit of sea salt, because we have all those cut surfaces of the potatoes that have not had any seasoning. So don't be cheap with this. And then finally, we'll hit it with our beautifully sliced scallions.
Oh my
Our
goodness.
fancy scallions.
That is so beautiful. And it looks just like it did in the restaurant.
Okay, can I serve you
Are
out?
we gonna start? I'm excited.
We're gonna start. All right, so let me give you a couple of pieces here. Now, even though there's only 2 potatoes here, I'd say this easily serves 4 people, maybe even 6 people.
Oh,
all right.
Yum.
And just in case,
I was thinking I might need another little spoonful, but I was gonna wait.
All right, so you ready to dig in?
I have been waiting for this.
Sorry it took me so long.
I want to make sure I get a little of that skin, though. The creaminess of that potato bumps into the char, and you get the layers of flavor here with the chili crisp. And I want the skin.
Yeah, the
right?
skin is like the best part of this, right?
For full episodes of your favorite cooking shows, head over to ATK's Full Episodes channel on YouTube. You can stream complete seasons of America's Test Kitchen, Cook's Country, and more. See you there.